I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Judge Aileen Cannon is at it again. She just issued a very bizarre order striking the sealed filings by Special Counsel Jack Smith's team and ordering briefing on an issue that neither Donald Trump's lawyers nor Special Counsel Jack Smith's team requested. This all began when Special Counsel Jack Smith brought a fairly routine motion in a situation where Donald Trump's lawyers were engaged in an obvious conflict of interest. What you had happening was the Trump Political Action Committee is paying for the lawyer Stanley Woodward Jr., who is representing Donald Trump's co-defendant, Waltine Nauta. At the same time, the PAC is paying Stanley Woodward Jr. to represent numerous other material fact witnesses who have evidence that would be against Waltine Nauta and Donald Trump. It would be incriminating evidence against them. That is an unwaivable conflict of interest, folks, and the way you address that is what's called a Garcia hearing. So Special Counsel Jack Smith requested a Garcia hearing, and then in connection with requesting the Garcia hearing, Special Counsel Jack Smith also submitted supplemental information under seal, meaning that the material that was submitted to the court confidential so that the parties themselves can see it, but the public couldn't see it. And Special Counsel Jack Smith cited grand jury secrecy as the basis for why he was filing it under seal. In this order striking the sealed filings, Judge Aileen Cannon is basically saying that Special Counsel Jack Smith, your team hasn't showed sufficient good cause why these documents are being filed under seal in the first place, to which Special Counsel Jack Smith previously wrote, it's because of grand jury secrecy. That's why. And also, Judge Aileen Cannon did something else here where she requested briefing from the parties about whether it would be improper that Special Counsel Jack Smith is still presenting evidence before an out-of-state grand jury post-indictment. Remember, there's at least one other grand jury in Washington, D.C. that is still receiving evidence regarding Donald Trump's crimes and regarding the crimes of Donald Trump's co-conspirators relating to Donald Trump's willful retention of national defense information. And one reason why Washington, D.C. is the situs for this grand jury is because a lot of the documents are documents that, well, they're government records that don't belong to Donald Trump. All of them are government records that don't belong to Donald Trump. So Special Counsel Jack Smith's utilized a grand jury in Washington, D.C. He's utilized a grand jury in the Southern District of Florida, ultimately for the indictments. And here, Judge Aileen Cannon is calling out Special Counsel Jack Smith for doing that, implying that she thinks it's improper. And then Judge Aileen Cannon throws down a footnote 1, which the way I read it, she's essentially inviting Donald Trump to bring a 12B motion under the federal rules of criminal procedure, which is a motion to dismiss. And Judge Aileen Cannon is saying, me calling out Special Counsel Jack Smith here for potentially an improper grand jury. By the way, there's nothing improper about doing it. She goes, this doesn't waive your other rights, Donald Trump, to bring a 12B motion under the federal rules of criminal procedure. Let's take a look at this order by Judge Aileen Cannon. And again, it just shows you how she continues to try to assert jurisdiction over things that don't belong to her. She continues to create a complete and utter mess in everything that she touches. Here it is right here. Order striking sealed filings and order briefing. Oh, one more point. I have no doubt that she has brought this order, she's made this order after what took place in the weekend, where the judge in the other case brought by Special Counsel Jack Smith wants to expedite that matter. So how law and order the federal judge Tanya Chutkan is in Washington, D.C., who's presiding over the case brought against Donald Trump for Donald Trump's trying to overthrow our democracy. Judge Aileen Cannon's like, well, if that judge is expediting it, I'm going to try to do the exact opposite here and try to help Donald Trump. That's how I read this order, frankly. Let's pull it up. Judge Cannon writes, this matter comes before the court upon the special counsel's motion for a Garcia hearing and related filings. It is ordered and adjudged as follows. The special counsel moves for a Garcia hearing to inquire into, quote, potential conflicts of interest that may arise from attorney Stanley Woodward Jr.'s prior and current representation of 3 individuals the government may call to testify at the trial of his client, Waltine Nauta. Simultaneously, the special counsel moves for leave to file under seal. As I said, that means confidential to the public, but not the parties, a supplement containing additional information, quote, to facilitate the court's inquiry. Pause there for a moment. Just the way the court even quotes, Judge Aileen Cannon quotes those words, to facilitate the court's inquiry, she's almost mocking the Department of Justice there. And the Department of Justice is saying, Judge, we are trying to give you evidence that shows this serious conflict of interest that is a violation of law. And the judge, like, quote, to facilitate the court's inquiry, potential conflicts of interest, quotes. She goes on to say, the special counsel states in conclusory terms that the supplement should be sealed from public view to comport with grand jury secrecy, but the motion for leave and supplement plainly fail to satisfy the burden of establishing a sufficient legal or factual basis to warrant sealing the motion and supplement. And Jack Smith's like, conclusory, it is a grand jury proceeding. That's the conclusion. It's not conclusory. It is confidential because it's grand jury. Judge Cannon, that's Law 101. I'm not sure if you went to law school, not sure if you know basic law here, but that's what grand jury secrecy is all about. Then Judge Cannon says, the special counsel's motion for leave to file under seal, this critical information, the judge says, is denied. And then she orders the clerk to remove from the docket the Department of Justice's filing. She then sets the hearing for the Garcia hearing, which is going to be set on or before August 17th, 2023. Well, Waltine Nauta shall file a response to the motion for a Garcia hearing on or before August 17th, 2023. And here's what she says for Waltine Nauta to do. Among other topics raised in the motion, the response shall address the legal propriety of using an out-of-district grand jury proceeding to continue to investigate and or to seek post-indictment hearings on matters pertinent to the instant indicted matter in this district. The special counsel shall respond to the discussion in a reply in support of the motion due on or before August 22nd, 2023. The remaining defendants, Trump, may but are not required to file briefs, and Trump and Carlos de Oliveira are not required but may file their own briefs related to the grand jury issue referenced herein. But any such briefs are due by August 17th and may be submitted or in a combined or individual fashion. Done and ordered, Judge Aileen Cannon.
60% of U.S. pork production comes from one company owned by China. And their hogs, they're given something called ractopamine, which is banned in 160 countries, including China. Yet you find this in your grocery store aisle every day. There's a better way. I'd like to tell you about Moink. That's moo plus oink. Moink delivers grass-fed and grass-finished beef and lamb, pastured pork and chicken, and sustainable wild-caught Alaskan salmon straight to your door. Moink farmers, they farm like our grandparents did. And as a result, Moink meat tastes like it should because the family farm, it does it better. The Moink difference is a difference you can taste, and you can feel good knowing that you're helping family farms stay financially independent too. I love that Moink is helping save rural America, and I know that you will too. Join the Moink movement today. Shark Tank host Kevin O'Leary called Moink's bacon the best bacon he's ever tasted. And Ring Doorbell founder Jamie Siminoff jumped at the chance to invest in Moink. Plus, they guarantee you'll say, oink, oink, I'm just so happy I got moinked. And I know I do, and I know you will too. Keep American farming going by signing up right now at moinkbox.com/MeidasTouch. Right now, and listeners of this show get free bacon in your first box. It's the best bacon you'll ever taste, but for a limited time. Spelled MOINK box.com/MeidasTouch. That's moinkbox.com/MeidasTouch.
You go to footnote 1 right here, and this is where she says in the footnote, hey, this improper, what she believes to be improper grand jury proceedings in D.C., which are not improper at all. She goes, this is in addition to the 12B motion. You can still file. The 12B motion is among other things, is a motion to dismiss under the federal rules of criminal procedure. She goes, this request for supplemental briefing is not intended to substitute and or limit any future motion brought pursuant to federal rule criminal procedure 12B. Again, almost inviting there a motion to dismiss. And as you go through specifically paragraph 4 of Judge Aileen Cannon's order, she, in what's called sua sponte, is a Latin term, on her own initiative, is basically making arguments for Donald Trump and Waltine Nauta, saying that, implying that there may be something that she views improper with an out-of-state grand jury still having hearings and still taking evidence. And this also kind of goes back to where Judge Aileen Cannon was reversed by the 11th Circuit back in 2022, where she asserted jurisdiction that didn't belong to her. She's kind of doing something similar here by basically saying, I want it. This is mine. Why is there this, you see what she's saying? Why is there this other grand jury in Washington, D.C. that's still hearing evidence? And, one, you can have this other grand jury still hearing evidence. It's not, it's very Trumpy. Mine, my court. This is what I'm doing. She should have recused herself when this case went before her. I mean, she had been reversed twice by the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in connection with a case that she broke the law on in favor of Donald Trump, someone who appointed her, which is utterly ridiculous. But here she's basically trying to say, I want everything to go before me. I don't want you using this other grand jury in Washington, D.C. That's what she is setting this showdown for. And so the question is, at what point does Jack Smith go to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals? You may remember back in when a few months back in a video I did, I said, let's not worry about Judge Aileen Cannon. It's not that this is what I said. It's not that I don't worry about Cannon. Cannon is a loose cannon and she breaks the law. She's a Trump judge. She's the worst. I have the full confidence in Jack Smith. Look at what's going on with the case regarding Donald Trump's criminality in the 2020 election and the January 6th insurrection. That is on an expedited basis now. And I think with that case moving in the right direction and likely having a 2024 trial date, I think Jack Smith will begin to say, all right, Judge Aileen Cannon, now I'm going to the 11th Circuit. Now I'm going to seek your recusal. Sure, that may push things back, maybe even to 2025, but I'm going to get my 2024 trial date in the other case that's going to put Donald Trump in jail for the rest of his life, and I'm going to make a fool out of you, Judge Aileen Cannon. So he's obviously not going to say it like that, but that is, I think, what is going on. So we'll see if Special Counsel Jack Smith goes to the 11th Circuit based on this order. I don't think he's going to do that yet. I think he's going to let the briefing play out, push what's going on in D.C., get a trial date. There's a hearing there on August 28th to set the trial date in connection with Trump's other criminal case. Of course, I think we'll see a Fulton County indictment drop as well. And then you're going to have Cannon doing the Cannon thing, making these ridiculous orders. Get her reversed at the 11th Circuit, get her recused, may delay this case from having a trial date, but the other trials will take place in 2024, put Donald Trump in jail. Go to MeidasTouch.com. We've got great breaking news there, this and other stuff. MeidasTouch.com, the #1 source of pro-democracy news. Check that out now, MeidasTouch.com. Wherever you get audio podcasts, subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast, and check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Have a great day. Hit subscribe right now on our YouTube channel.
Hey, Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.